This is Chris Ford, also known as Crowbar or Devon Storm, and you're watching Eric Live on the Air. WCW, I would be on the road. Whenever I needed to be on the road, I would tour wherever. But there were times when you're out there as a character, there are times when your character is being used and you're out there every single week, and there's times when to kind of give your character a break, and you might be home for a week or 2 weeks or maybe a month, or and it was during those times when I was home, instead of just staying at home and doing whatever, I would go to work at a hospital per diem, and I worked for Health South per diem. I kept my hand in with the therapy aspect of my life, and even when my character was being used, occasionally you would fly out, you would just do Nitro Monday night, you would tape Thunder, and then you'd do the Saturday night show, and you would be home Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I would still work those days as well. So I always kept a hand in with the therapy. Also, a big part of my training was when I was about 12 or 13, I met a guy at my gym, Strong and Shapely Gym in Rutherford, New Jersey. He's in Big Sweet William, who went on to become Hugh Morris, who went on to become Bill DeMott from Tough Enough, and he was actually, in spite of his size, he was very agile, did the moonsaults.
Yeah, he did.
And he was actually the guy, for a short time, there was a health club in Lodi or Garfield, I believe it was Lodi, called Racquetball Plus, and a local independent wrestler called Tommy Cairo put a wrestling ring in one of the racquetball courts that weren't being used, and he would actually go down there and he would train with me there, and he's actually who taught me how to do the flips and a lot of the Japanese style, which now it's moonsaults, Frankensteiners, diving to the floor, is just everyday stuff. At that time, that really wasn't an everyday occurrence. I wasn't one of the bigger guys at that time. I'm still not. But at that time especially, many of the wrestlers were just ginormous guys. So I knew I had to find something that set me apart from the rest. I said, okay, I'm not huge. I'm never going to be huge, but I had got my hands on some Japanese tapes, and you see Jushin Liger, the great Sasuke, the great Muda, guys like that doing all these flips. I go, I kind of like that style. It would be kind of cool if I could do it. I'm not as big as the other guys. If I could do this style, it might set me apart from the rest of the pack. And meanwhile, there's this guy here that went to Japan here and there. He knew how to do the flips and do Frankensteiners, all that stuff, and he actually showed me how to do that. And that was instrumental in me breaking out from the rest of the pack, because I started doing some wild stuff that not a lot of guys here were doing yet.
Yeah. Are you still close with Bill DeMott?
I haven't talked to him in a while. He moved out to Atlanta. I know he just did a book called Last Laugh, and I know there's a few segments in there that includes me. He's a great guy. I owe so much to him. I heard the book is great. When he contacted me about some old stories and memories I have of him, just to recall some stuff that he recorded it the right way, he goes, I want to be brutally honest here. I want the good, the bad, and the ugly, and anything you could remember about me. So I'm real anxious to read the book. I hear it's a great read.
Good.
Plug for Bill DeMott there.
Yeah. Okay. What's it called again?
Last Laugh.
Right.
It's by the Crowbar Press. I think you get it online or something. Before I do anything, I get this question a lot of times at independent shows, and it makes me feel really, really old. I get all the new guys come. I watched you growing up. And that was something I used to tell all the guys when I broke in, and now I'm getting it, and I feel freaking old when people say that. But he goes, you have any advice for me? I'm breaking in, trying to get ahead, this, that, the other thing. And I tell everybody the same thing. Whatever you do, make sure you have something else to fall back on. I go, expect nothing from the business. I go, it's a heartless, cruel, unforgiving business. And if you expect nothing, anything else that happens is just gravy. It's a bonus. I got involved just because I just wanted to get in the ring and do it. Never imagined in a million years I would get as far as I did, and I can't be more thrilled with the success that I had. Never expected. It's a gift, but thank God I have my physical therapy.
Yeah.
If I did not have that, though, a lot of people are under the impression that wow, when I make it on TV people make millions of dollars, I'm not going to be rich. It's not like that. If you're not a John Cena or a Rock or a Stone Cold, one of those guys, you're making millions, sure. If you're an undercard guy or with the middle of the card, the money's okay, but you're not going to make enough to last you the rest of your life. When it's over,
you need something else.
It's over. You need something else, and you could go from the top of the card to being gone. Perfect example of that. If you think back a few years, they had a gimmick called the Spirit Squad, and they main evented Raw for almost a year straight. I know a lot of those guys made good money for a year straight, and then they decided that the gimmick ran its course, and all of a sudden all these guys were released. If you were one of these guys, you're thinking, wow, I'm main eventing Raw for a year, and in your mind you're probably thinking, I'm set. I'm main eventing Raw for a whole year. There's no way the company could get rid of me, and now all these guys are gone, I think, for the most part. For me personally, I love performing. It's a lot of fun. I'm 37 years old. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I work a lot of hours a week, and a lot of times I don't want to go to the gym at night. It's a motivator that gets me into the gym. It helps me to stay in shape, so I look good when I'm out there, and I'm not that guy that they're saying, wow, he freaking needs hanging up. He looks terrible. So it's a motivator to keep me in shape, and I don't know, it's just something that defines me. I enjoy it. It's good exercise. It helps me become somebody else. Helps me blow off steam, release some stress, and I think it keeps me young. I really do. The bad things, for me, the bad things are, they affect me a lot differently than a lot of the other guys. A lot of the guys that do it, and it is your main income, and that's how they make a living, you're at the mercy of some pretty unscrupulous people. Quite frankly, you're at the mercy of, like, you know, a bunch of idiots that will pretty much control whether you get paid or not, or if you're working this show or that show. No matter how good you are, I don't know if you want me to say this here, like, you have to kiss these people's asses, and half of them are idiots. And that's just if you're going to be a pro wrestler, that's all part of the game. You're going to get banged up training and learning to be a wrestler, but if you have a passion for it, you might not care about that. You could work very hard, you could work your ass off, and you could be one of the best technical guys out there. You could have a great character, but if someone doesn't see you or see that actual potential in you, you're never gonna have an opportunity to show it. So, you know, like you hear all the time, hard work pays off, this and the other thing. Not all the time in pro wrestling. You know, if you'll have your own satisfaction of knowing that you worked hard and that you're able to do A, B, C, D in the ring, and that you're a good performer. But if well, the truth is that someone may not ever realize it. It's just like if you're a great singer, or if you have a great band out there and no one sees you and it gives you the opportunity. If you're a great artist, if you don't get the break, it's just not going to happen. So you really need something to fall back on, and the chances of making it are iffy at best.
Yeah.
And like, I know me personally, I've had some TV exposure, some really good exposure. I get calls all the time to do shows, but if I had to budget my life, if it even was just me as a single guy, never mind a wife and kids and a mortgage, on an independent wrestler salary, it would be impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible. It's not dependable. There's plenty of times you'll show up at shows, you'll get stiff because there was a small crowd at the show, and the promoter just can't pay you. So there's more bad out there than good. But if you have a passion for it, I always tell people, if you want to do it, go for it. Work your ass off. Have fun. Expect nothing at all. And don't revolve your life around it. And if the break happens, it's unexpected and it's great.
I'm sure you get asked the question all the time, but what happens one day if your son or your daughter comes to you and they're like, Dad, I want to do wrestling?
If they want to do it, I would lay everything out for them. I would certainly guide them along the way. I would make sure they did something else, but you know, like, I know some guys in the business, they have kids and they're bringing them into the ring and they're teaching them moves like at 4 and 5 years
Rock.
old.
The Rock is a perfect example of that. His grandfather, uncle.
That'll never be me.
No.
If they one day decide that they want to do it, I'll help them, but I certainly will not encourage it. David, not a great wrestler at all, but for some reason when they made him go wacky in his head, they found out when they were tracking the ratings, he always popped a good rating.
Yeah.
So they were faced.
I think part of it had to do with because his last name is Flair.
Possibly, but still, Ric Flair was on the show.
Yeah.
You had other wrestlers on there doing great, and you had David Flair, who was not a great wrestler at all, and he was, for all intents and purposes, running around the back hitting people with a crowbar, acting like a nut, and he was popping a rating, and they were tracking this. For some reason, people were tuning in to David Flair. So then they're faced with the problem. Flair's drawing a rating, but we really are limited as far as what we can do with him wrestling-wise because he can't wrestle.
Yeah.
So they came up with the idea of first they'll get him a manager, and that was Daphne. And they dragged that out for a little bit, and it was interesting and stuff. She was a Psycho fan, and they
was also
let that go. Yeah. And then they finally said that we have to get him in the ring, so how do we fix this? Lucky for me, like the way I wrestled, they said, let's get him a tag team partner. The partner will do the majority of the wrestling.
Yeah.
We'll tag David in here or there just enough to make it look like he's wrestling. And Crowbar was born.
Yeah. Now, so Crowbar, probably, I'm assuming the name came from, like
because
you said.
He was whacking people with a crowbar, and I'll never forget it. I got a call. We need you down in Salisbury, Maryland. Vince Russo has an idea to do something with you, David Flair and Vampiro, yada yada yada. So I get down there. I have no idea what's going on. On the Saturday night show, I was doing kind of a gothy type gimmick. I was wearing eyeliner and very dark and more. Crowbar was more of like a goofy character. But the Saturday night character I was doing as Devon Storm was more intense, the evil, just getting in there. So I was thinking, am I teaming with Vampiro because he's kind of like a dark character? Am I going?
It would have made sense.
Yeah, that's what I originally thought because I knew for a while Jimmy Hart was actually pushing to put me with Vampiro as a tag. So I'm thinking, oh, it has to be me going with Vampiro. Then I get there and okay, you're going to be the gas station attendant, and David Flair's going to pull up, and you're going to be working with somebody else. You're going to be filling his gas tank, and he asks you for an oil change. You flip out on him. David's a nut, so he likes it. He asks you what your name is, and you say, some people call me Crowbar. He laughs. You guys look at each other in the eye, and all of a sudden there's a connection. Later on, Vampiro tracks him down at your gas station. The Misfits, who are also from New Jersey, hop out. They beat him up, and you come and whack them all with a pipe, and you save the day.
Yeah. And
then the end of that was actually me taking the gas hose and holding a lighter up, threatening to burn them all, which TBS's standards and practices cut no.
What do you want?
We need some gas.
Why are you staring at me?
Hey, dude, you gonna check my oil or what?
Listen, can you read the sign? It says gas, not oil change. So step out of my way before I step over you. What is your name? Some people call me Crowbar.
Crowbar! I like that!
This here business is done.
Is it drugs? Is it the lifestyle? Is it this and that? I believe that all athletes, baseball, football, basketball, at some level they party hard. Not all, but there's a good percentage of the population that are hard partiers because that's just that lifestyle. But people in those sports, they have to be in good enough physical shape to perform, whether it's the next day or with the football game on Sunday or with the baseball game tomorrow night. You have to be in a proper condition, mind frame to not only play the game but also to train each and every day to prepare for that game.
Yeah.
Wrestling, quite frankly, it's entertainment. Some will say fake. The outcomes are predetermined, and because of that, it leaves a lot of room for accountability. There is no accountability. Hypothetically, me and you could be wrestling each other. We could be on the road for a month and a half straight. We're good buddies, and if we want to go out and tear it up every night, if our thing is booze and pills and drugs and this and that, we could get tore up till 3, 4, 5 in the morning. We could sleep till noon. We could wake up, have breakfast, go to the gym, get to the building on time to do a show, and say, hey, I had a rough night. I'm not feeling too good. You take care of me and I'll take care of you. No one gets hurt. We'll do just a good enough match, and then we'll go out and do it again when the night's over. And it's fine. You show up and not say to a pro football game, you get your head knocked off. You show up like that to a pro basketball game, you're not going to make a basket. You show up like that to a pro baseball game, you're not going to hit like a ball, and then you're done. But because there's no accountability, there's a lot of room to just screw around and just do the wrong thing. And I think now it's starting to change. I see a lot of guys on these independent shows, a lot of the guys coming up. I did some work for Ring of Honor in January, and a lot of these guys are more athletes. I'm sure some of the guys go out and have a good time, but there are a lot more guys that aren't into that crazy party mood, where a lot of the guys from my generation, for a lack of a better word, are. And at that point, going back to when I was there, guys could go out and they could go party, and the office people, the people that are put in charge of what the talent is doing, were all former wrestlers that probably did the same thing.
Yeah.
So they didn't care if the guys were doing it because they did the same thing, or you would see those guys out with the wrestlers having a good time, and they would all cover for each other.
Yeah.
So the accountability is just not even there. Some of that's been cleaned up with WWE's drug testing policies.
The wellness policy.
Yeah, the wellness policy. But you still hear the stories, and like at least now when guys start being perpetual train wrecks, they usually get rid of them. There's no commerce. They're a publicly traded company. They have to answer to investors, and they don't want the bad publicity. So if you become that guy who's a train wreck, you're gone.
Yeah.
Do you guys still get away with it? Yeah, of course. But I think that's helped, and I do think that this newer generation of guys coming up that have seen guys drop dead left and right, they're less involved in that. Is it going on still? Sure. Because there's always some young guy that'll end up hanging out with somebody that he watched on the TV and he's enamored with him, and if that guy goes out and gets banged up at night on whatever, that new guy's going to want to hang out with his idol, and unfortunately the cycle continues in that matter.
It's unfortunate that all these things happen, because then when you think about some of your best moments, you don't even know what to think about.
They're gone. A lot of the people are not here.
Above the entranceway.
Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
He's got him up.
No, he wouldn't.
He's not going to throw him off. My God, he's not going to throw him off.
Crowbar trying to fight back. Those punches having little effect.
No.
Oh, no.
No.
The wall's got him
He cannot do
flat.
this. That's 15 feet down.
Oh, my God. He just went right through the stage.
And look at his face.
That's that 6 smile. God, he's sadistic.
Come on, get out of here. I'm sorry. Maybe that was spectacular, and maybe the fans got some sick thrill out of it. That man should never wrestle here or anyone else again.
All right, let's get help. I don't know if anybody in our production truck or anybody backstage can help. Well, finally some more help has come out. The EMT's right now already busy with Bigelow, and now there is another...
What are your thoughts when you watch that?
But the move itself was great. I was very nervous all day, but I knew it was a big opportunity. at that time, Kevin Sullivan was the booker, and he had this whole plan for me and Jerry, who was the wall. Prior to that bump, I had done one a few weeks back where he actually chokeslammed me. We jumped from the ring apron 5 or 6 feet out, and he put me through the announce table. Actually, a more dangerous move than that. That there was pretty much a free fall. The one a few weeks before, we both had to physically jump up and land clear 5 feet out and go through the announce table. That looked more impressive probably, but the one with the announce table was probably more dangerous of a bump there. And you know, I've obviously now I got a wife and a kid, and if I were asked to do that, I probably wouldn't. I have a lot more responsibilities and stuff, but at the time I was just so determined to make an impact and get my character over that I was nervous about it all day, but I knew I would do it. We practiced a fall before the event, and I was just gung-ho to do it. It was done safely. They did have a stunt coordinator there.
I don't understand though. Explain to me how any part of that can be done safely.
The platform you land on was constructed to absorb the fall. Like it's not something. It's not a fly-by-night stunt. It had to be constructed a certain way.
Yeah.
To make it safe, but still you had to have the tomatoes to let somebody throw you down 16 or 18 feet blindly. Like there is some danger there if he rotated me too much and you went head first, then you're screwed. But I actually started out with him. We both started out at Iron Mike Sharp's school. I held it back, but watching the clip, I actually got a little bit, like teary because we were really tight, and that moment there was awesome because we both started out at the same place. We were two guys that just loved wrestling from New Jersey. He kind of got his success one way, and I was doing another thing, and then we kind of met in WCW, and we got to do that on a pay-per-view event. It was probably one of the highlights of the pay-per-view, and for me and him, it was just awesome, and for all intents and purposes, like, although I was I was motivated and like to do these stunts to get my character over, he was probably the only guy that I would trust to do that.
Yeah. Now you said that it's built to absorb and but doesn't it hurt?
Yeah, you definitely feel it, but you're definitely bruised up. That definitely gets the wind knocked out of you. You definitely feel it.
Like when they had to break that thing down and they like carry you out, were you still like
banged up? Yeah, I was banged up. But
like, did they actually have to carry you out, or could you actually walk? Like when they bring you back and the cameras go off, did you stand up and walk away?
No, I got up, I shook it off, and I had the wind knocked out of you like a little bit. But there's a difference between being hurt, in my opinion, and injured. I was hurt, I was banged up, but I wasn't injured. So I've been working out there and twisted my knee and knew I tore a cartilage or something. I knew something was going on, but I was able to finish the match. Yeah. That's an injury you could work through and finish. I had a match years ago where I tore my bicep during the match. I still have a hole there, you can see, and I finished the match. I dove to the floor. The guy caught me, and just the way we fell, my arm went through the bars of the guardrail, and it just cut it there. And
was it actually cut, or was it?
You can see the hole. The hole's still there. You can kind of see it a little bit there.
Yeah.
And I finished the match. That's an injury where you can kind
of. How much pain were you in though?
It was more shock than pain. I knew I had done something, but I knew I wanted to finish the match.
Yeah. In
that instance, you kind of work through the injury. You
might
cut out a move here or there that you might have planned. You just don't do it. The most painful one was a torn abdominal muscle. I had the hardcore belt on me, and we were doing like a 2-on-2 match. It was me and Mike Awesome against Bam Bam and Reno, I believe it was. And we're fighting here. We're using garbage cans and chairs, and we're doing regular wrestling stuff. And everybody was fighting outside the ring, and I went for an Asai moonsault, which means you basically bounce off the second rope, backflip, and you go to the floor. And
yeah, I've seen you do it.
You hope to hit the target, which there were 3 bodies out there, and everybody missed me. So I hit the floor, and I got up, and I thought I shattered my pelvis, and yada yada yada. It ends up being a torn abdominal muscle that I didn't report at the time because I had the hardcore belt on me. It was a little push, and it was a really good thing for my character. So I finished the match. It killed, but I had the belt on me another probably 4 or 5 weeks maybe, and I had a torn abdominal muscle.
Wrestling?
And I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want them to take it off me. So I just kind of did my own PT and tried to avoid things that would get me hurt. You don't, and that's why with all the awareness to concussions now, you very rarely see a unprotected chair shot. You'll see chair shots, but guys will either put their hand up or there'll be kind of a swipe. You'll never see, like back when I was involved, and that was around the ECW time where guys swung with the chair and then you just took it. You just put it out there and you just
How do you take it though?
You take it.
But humans aren't made to
exactly.
take it.
Well, at that time, that was just it's just part of the job. You see chair shots to the back, which stings, but you take the wide part of the chair on the wider part of the back, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna sting, it's gonna make noise, but if you do it right, it shouldn't injure you more than a bruise or like a little cut or something like that. It's not going to injure you. It's not going to break bone. Chair shots to the head. We found out later on after the whole Benoit thing, which was the real thing that opened up the concussion book. You're hoping to get hit up here, maybe like obviously if you get hit on the top of your head, you can compress your spine, which is not good. You don't want to do that. So you just kind of right there is where it usually came in the past. And
but did anything ever happen to you?
There's been some times where I honestly see in hindsight that I've had some mild concussions, if not like full on.
Did you ever do anything about it?
You just go. It's just all part of the. At that time, unfortunately, it was just. That's part of the job. It was a way of life. We were getting off a plane in I forget what it was, some Midwest city where we were taking a small plane from another city, and we arrived at this place where you walked off the plane and then you walk to the rental car place and there was some kind of like attendant. Somebody worked for the airline and he was just there greeting people, and it just sounded funny. I still talk to Mike Tenay about this whenever I see him, but he was saying, so and so, hello, and I'm walking off the plane with Mike, and he goes, Mr. Tenay, Mr. Crowbar. So Mike Tenay still calls me Mr. Crowbar because it was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And if I had to name one moment that was wacky and just funny and I'll never forget it, that would probably be it. I have no expectations because when you have expectations, you're kind of let down sometimes. I know myself that whenever I go out there, I give the best effort. My colleagues in the business the very small handful that I call friends will even say, I'll go out there and I'll do a couple crazy spots and go 15, 20 minutes and they'll say, what the hell's wrong with you? Why are you doing that? Why are you still going like that? And I go out there and I love it. I enjoy myself. I know I've said this before, I'm there because I choose to be, not because I need to be. And that there is a game changer in and of itself when you're depending on it to make your living. Sorry, it's an even more of a heartless business. Yeah. I think some guys grow to resent it, but they have to do it. I'm there of my own free will, of my own volition, because I enjoy it, and that just changes the whole experience. And when I'm done, if people want the dream or something, I did it out of the love of performing. If people were entertained, great. I know I entertained myself.
Yeah.
I definitely entertained myself doing it. And if some fans out there can enjoy it along the way, great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.